Good morning. This afternoon's lesson is about Daniel Defoe, a writer and a journalist who lived during the reign of Queen Anne, and he was also involved in the politics of the time, working first for the Conservative Party, the Tories, and later for the Whigs. For the Whig Party. He was born in London in 1660 and died there in 1731. Daniel Defoe was born in a family of dissenters in 1660. Who were the dissenters? The dissenters could be considered as descendant of the Puritans. They were radical Protestants inside the Church of England. They descended regarding matters of religion. And his family was quite wealthy and provided him with a good education. Besides the traditional subjects, Latin and Greek, he also studied modern languages, economics, and geography because his father wanted him to become a lawyer, like in the family tradition. He was a journalist and he started to write in Whig's paper. His greatest achievement was a periodical called The Review, but because of the criticism against the government, Queen Anne had him arrested, tried, and imprisoned. After this adventure, Defoe denied his Whig's ideas and became a secret agent for the new Tory government. In this picture, you can see Daniel Defoe being condemned to be publicly ashamed at the pillory. But some way this situation turned in his personal triumph, because people, instead of throwing rotten eggs and rotten fruit to him, started to throw him flowers. He started to write novels when he was about 60, and the reason was that he was full of debts because of his legal misadventures. He died in 1731. Okay, he is mainly known for two novels, Robinson Crusoe, that he wrote in 1719, and Moll Flanders, written in 1722. These two novels are the most popular ones, and films have been based on these two stories. But as you can see, he wrote several novels, almost one every year. And considering the fact that each novel consisted of many pages, you can see how fast he had to write in order to have his novels published. At the time, there weren't such things as publishing houses. Each bookseller published the book at his own expenses, giving the author of the book or the novel just a little sum of money. So Daniel Defoe didn't earn much money from his works. Anyway, they granted him a well-known popularity, both at the time and in the following centuries. Robinson Crusoe is the story of a shipwreck on a desert island, quindi la storia di un naufragio su un'isola deserta. Captain Singleton deals with the adventures of a captain who becomes a pirate, Colonel Jack is the story of a pickpocket, un borsaiolo, who repents, che si pente. Moll Flanders, one of his best novels, deals with the adventures of a woman, a foundling, who becomes a thief, a prostitute to survive, but finally becomes the rich owner of a big plantation in America, repents, and leads a respectable life. Moreover, she writes a diary telling her story to young women so that they could not make her same mistakes. Roxana, in the end, deals with the adventures of a high society woman who exploits her beauty to obtain what she wants. What can we notice from the titles? The titles have the name of the protagonists. So Robinson Crusoe is the protagonist of the story, and the same we can say for all the other novels. So real names and surnames, contemporary names and surnames have been employed for the main character of the story. So, the structure of the novels follows the same pattern. They are all fictional autobiographies narrated in the first person by the main character. What does fictional mean? Fictional means fake. So, since the characters are fiction characters, their autobiographies cannot be true biographies, but they are narrated in such a way that the reader is led to believe they are reading a true story or the story of a true life. They are based on a series of episodes and adventures without much connection. And all these episodes are unified by the presence of a single hero, and they also lack of a coherent plot. For example, there are characters who sometimes survive, other characters who disappear, and we do not know what happens to them. So, the narration is retrospective first person. So, the main character narrates his or her story when he is at the end of his adventures. So in retrospective, the author's point of view coincides with the main characters, and characters are presented through their actions and through their thoughts. Robinson Crusoe can be considered a middle-class hero. Why? As you can remember, when we talked about novel, we said that novel writers mainly address their works to middle-class people, especially middle-class women, but also men became interested in this new literary genre, so they needed to identify themselves with a hero, a character that could be a mirror of their aspirations, their set of values, and their beliefs. Actually, Robinson shares some of the best qualities of his time's middle class. He is rational, he's religious, and he's also the typical man that never loses his courage in any difficulty, but manages to go on in his life by using what he has. I think that everybody knows the story of Robinson. He and his famous shipwreck on a desert island. Actually, Robinson shares some typical characteristics of the classical heroes of travel literature. As for example, we can mention Ulysses in the Odyssey. They are both uh, restless people, okay? And their story starts with an act of transgression of or of disobedience. For example, we can see Robinson at the beginning of the story as a young man who is who studies for becoming a lawyer and belongs to a quite middle class family. However, he doesn't want to obey his father. He refuses to follow his father's will and sets up as a merchant on a ship from his native town because he wants to make his own fortune at sea. Okay, but Robinson Crusoe is also a spiritual autobiography because it is full of religious references to God, sin, providence, and salvation. The hero reads the Bible to find comfort and guidance whenever he finds himself in a difficult situation. And also Defoe, in this novel, explores the conflict between economic motivation and spiritual salvation, which is also a characteristic of the time. What does it mean? Economic motivation was the engine that moved middle class people of the time to make their own fortune, especially through commerce abroad. Okay, but at the same time, in order to make their own fortune, there were conflicts. They had to find compromise with their own conscience. For this reason, Robinson always keeps a diary to keep a record of his adventures in order to find or in order to see God's will in them. And he is constantly torn in a conflict between good and evil. So the island to Robinson is not a kind of earthly paradise or doesn't represent a return to nature, but it is a chance to him to exploit and dominate nature. On that island, Robinson, like a colonist, a colonizer, organizes a primitive empire. So when he lands on the desert island, the first thing he does is to take possession of the island, to plant the British flag on it, and to declare it an English land. So behaving like the typical English colonizer of the time. The society that Robin creates on the island, actually a society just made up of two people, him and the savage, the native Friday, the native man that he manages to save from his own fellows who wants to perform a sacrifice, a human sacrifice with him, and then eat him because they were cannibals. So Robinson saves this man Friday, but he does not become his friend. He becomes his servant. So Robinson does not want to create an alternative to the British society on the island. Actually, the island represents an exaltation of the 18th century England, with its ideals of social mobility, material production,